Hey everyone. So many of you were asking yesterday in our office hours calls about wanting the AI agents to do math, essentially, right? Actually to do complex calculations, formulas. And I'm surprised because I have like 5 different customers right now that want to kind of do this. And we're working with actually 2 right now directly to get this kind of done, and possibly a 3rd. But as many of you know, the AI agents are not good at doing math, right? They will hallucinate the answer because they're predicting what the answer is rather than actually doing, the math behind it. And so relatedly, what you need to do, this is a time, and you need to think of these agents in many ways as humans like yourself, right? Do most of us, whenever we want to calculate, for example, the monthly mortgage payment, do we do that in our heads? No, we use a calculator, right? To do that, we use a tool, maybe even pen and paper. But that's how you need to think of these agents, right? They're just like humans in many ways, interestingly, but they need to have access to a tool as well, right? Otherwise, you can't trust their answer in many cases. And so let's talk about how we can do that by using more kind of traditional code, right? We're going to write a tool that the agent can access. And let me show you how we're working with this customer to get this done. Now, the first important thing here is we need to give what we're going to be doing basically is creating a Claude function, okay, that the agent is then going to call that Claude function. And that Claude function is going to be the tool that he uses, and it'll return to him, for this example, the monthly mortgage payment, right? And the way we're going to do this is by defining a URL that the agent can call. Now, this first piece that we need to talk about here, you don't want to give, I guess you could, right? You could give inside the prompt, you could put the URL. The problem with that approach is it's possible that the agent could, and maybe this is fine, like if you don't care if the URL is exposed, so maybe it's fine for this example, for that use case. But if you have a protected URL that's only accessible, you only want you to know about that URL, which is actually quite common in Claude functions, then it may be better to actually create an alias, right? So what you could do is come into our system. We would have to create this interface, but you could create an alias for a URL, and then you store in our system the associated URL, right? That way, the AI agent has no possibility of ever leaking that URL to the end user because it doesn't know it, right? Only our system does. So then we have the Stammer.ai agent. And what we need to build on the Stammer side is this interface, obviously, and then we need to also create a function. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the name of the function. This is just what I threw together really quickly, but the function could be called HTTP GET. And then it takes in the alias calc_mortgage_ URL, and then also some keyword arguments, and as many as you need, basically. So for this example, I've got rate of the mortgage, length, also the total amount will need to be there. But then you could put into the prompt, something like this. Whenever the user wants to know the monthly payment for the mortgage, use the HTTP GET function to call the calc mortgage URL and pass in the appropriate parameters. And then you could, give it an example call here, like I just said. Tell it, this function will return the proper monthly mortgage payment, and then give it an example response. And by providing this in the prompt, and once we have this function written to make an HTTP GET request and receive the response, the AI agent, at least for GPT-4o, I believe, should be able to handle this quite easily. This is actually less complex than what we're doing with the conversational scheduling. And then what would need to happen? Now, this is what you guys would need to do on your end, right? So obviously, once this is in the prompt, the agent could make this call, get the response, and kind of give it to the user, right? That could definitely work. And what you guys need to do is actually create this Claude function to do the calculations for you. And now we're working with a customer now who just took his Python code that he was trying to give me, and he put it, I believe, on make.com in some way, and basically showed me a URL I can use to access it and test it. So I'm going to be testing it later today. Of course, he's not calculating monthly mortgage payments, but it's, in that kind of vein. But You can use make.com for this. You can use, obviously, DigitalOcean has cloud functions, AWS, obviously, Google Cloud Functions. I'm sure there's other providers out there that you guys know about that allow you to take Python code, run it, and put it behind a URL that can be accessible. Now, if you have no coding skills or what you want to do is incredibly complex, the first thing I advise you to do is to try to use either GPT-4o or Claude to help you get this running, okay? If this is a simple function, it should be easy enough. And I will create a tutorial, by the way. I'm going to find out what this customer did to put this on make.com, because I didn't realize it could actually execute Python code or other code as well. But I will create a tutorial that shows how to do that with make.com. But try to use GPT-4o, try to use Claude, which is really good for coding, and try to get this function working on make.com or whatever platform you're familiar with. And that's the first thing. Now, if you still don't have those capabilities or don't have the time, you can certainly hire someone to do this for you. And the hard part, this can be very easy for a skilled developer to do, is to launch a cloud function. The harder part will actually be explaining to them exactly what you want to do. But that is definitely an option. And this is the best approach, honestly. For things like this, where you need hard calculations that are accurate every time, you need to give the AI agents access to tools. And by us creating this function that can make HTTP GET requests and return the response to the agent, this will be a great way to kind of achieve almost, I think, 90% of what people want to do with custom functions. And you could even see us adding, authentication later to this. And I mean, you could even actually store an API key in a way very similar to this URL alias creator. In fact, maybe we should abstract this functionality a bit more and just call it alias creator or something, because you could easily create an alias for a key, store the key in here securely in our system, and then tell the chatbot to use that key to make the API call. Anyway, hopefully this makes sense. And I'm creating this video to show this to you all and see how many others of you may be interested in this capability. So I'm going to share this in our Discord. And remember, if you're not in our Discord, if you're somehow watching this in another way, through Loom, or maybe I'll upload this to YouTube, I'm not sure, just jump on our Discord, Stammer.ai/Discord, and you can also find that link on our landing page, kind of in the middle, I believe. But yeah, you guys let me know how many of you are interested in doing this. We're working directly with that customer now to kind of get this worked out and figure out how to do this. So let me know.